Away they go. And what a great shot. Fourth from the right is Boulanger and Candy.
What a start.
They're the jam car in this race. Unpredictable at best. McGregor going well, Georgie Jacob going well, and the Volt brothers going well. And on the far side, Charlie Smith and Magnus Gregory, awesome from the juniors there. They've got a free ride to the front and they're making the best of it. They're with the French and they're going to stay there. So great stuff from Charlie Smith there in the yellow boat to the right of your shot. But here's the lead group, and it's Georgie Jacob leading that left-hand side. French leading the right-hand group. Great Britain to the right of the French. And I'm struggling to find everyone else in the pack at the moment. Through come the Danes.
Of course, there were 20 boats in this group, so they were strung out across that whole start pontoon, and that's why they all took off straight for the bridge pillars. Now that they've passed under the bridge, they're starting to regroup. Well, not entirely. There's two groups forming, one going left, one going center. You've
got Laurens in the Spanish boat, also out to this side, in the black boat, to the right, to the left of the French. But what a ride to the front it is for the Great Britain crew. It could not have fallen better for them. Somebody stopped on the right-hand side. Could be Belgian. I think that could well be Coppens and Coquet from Belgium.
Oh, my word.
That must be a technical failure. Can't be tired already, guys.
300 meters and they're out.
So Georgie Jacob, as he did in the under-23 K1, leading the group on this side with the Vold brothers to their left. There's the Belgium. Sad sight for them. A couple of 100 meters up from the bridge there.
Yeah, that's Rien Coppens and
everyone's
Robin
had to go to the French, and it could not have fallen better for Great Britain here.
Everybody's gone
around. Come the Vold brothers trying to take on Georgie Jacob. Georgie Jacob yep. The Vold brothers are going to be able to squeeze out. They don't want to come past the French. They just want to get on the side of them. Hungarians squeezed into the V. It's the Spaniards, Laurens and his partner being squeezed out of the V. And Great Britain, oh my word. If you're a junior and under 18 and you're sat there in this race, it does not get better than that. Whatever happens from here on, they've done well. Jacob Adam, top of your picture, just struggling on the outside of the group.
And the black boat going hot on the outside, going to the front.
Is Miguel Laurens. We saw him in the under-23s as well. And for the first time, Great Britain are going to be off the sidewash, but placed beautifully into the V. There's no complaints coming from them until, of course, the Hungarians in the white boat go round the Spanish, which is going to happen, and when we see it, it's going to start getting tougher for the yellow boat of Great Britain.
Well, there's going to be a huge bunch coming up to
the
that top turn.
Hungarians, back go the Spaniards, one place back go Great Britain, and they're starting to be put in positions that are slightly less comfortable now. Boros and Salty level with the yellow boat of Great Britain. Jacob Adam out to the left of that group. Bazagny on the right there, on his own in the white boat. The Germans to the far right of your screen. Portuguese, bottom of your picture there. No, Spaniards, sorry, second Spaniards. You got the Swedish crew, two Argentinians and Australians. Josh Kippen, we saw him yesterday, outperforming his ability. But it's going to be a huge group around the top turn. And this is where the experience will tell.
McGregor and Marco in the front, well, not in the front of the bunch, in the middle of the two leading boats there. They could end up with a pull, but they're right up there in the front.
So McGregor making a much better job of this than he did of the first leg in the K1 yesterday, and that's ominous for anyone else in the race. It's the Vold brothers leading now, McGregor to their right, and Burkitt to his left. Boros and Salty to left of your picture, high stroke rate. They're coming round, they're going to be, God knows what's going to happen to them when that other white boat gets to them. But Boros and Salty want to get to the front, and they want to get to, oh, that was McGregor going out. And so McGregor was holding them off. Quite extreme, the direction he took to do that. He was making sure that he was going to give Boros and Salty a tough time there.
Gee, so no place for the faint-hearted there.
Absolutely, it's not. You got the Vold brothers leading. You got South Africa either side. You got the French in the back. That is going to be Boulanger and Candy, I think.
Into the top turn can they come? It's the Vold brothers leading.
This will be a great aerial shot.
McGregor, Mocker,
The problem boat here is the one in the V-wash because they haven't got enough ground. They've come out. It's the French. We knew there would be a problem in group formations. They just don't seem to have that tactical awareness. And away goes McGregor. The Vold brothers to the left. And the Vold brothers stay out of trouble in the early laps. They're going to be a big contender later on, I think. But we highlighted the French as one of the erratic crews in terms of steering. And you saw it right there.
And it only takes one boat to be sketchy and a big bunch going around a turn like this, and there will be casualties, innocent civilians that are taken out on the outside of the turn. Gee, it's like WWF out there. Awesome to watch.
It always is in the early stages of the K2. And the K2s, of course, have so much momentum that if you need to slow down to duck around the back of someone, it's a much harder job. You've got to communicate that to your partner. It's very, very difficult. Great Britain still there, just at the back of that group in the yellow boat. There's a wash behind the other yellow boat if they can get up to it. They've got a mountain to climb there now, but they're going to do it, and they're securely in the group. So we've got South Africa from Norway, from Spain.
That's a 10-boat bunch heading down to the bridge. So the whole shot from the Volt brothers, Edvind and John Amund. The Norwegians look like they're going to be a factor throughout. The pace just consolidating a little bit. It's Hank McGregor and Jasper Mokker who are now sitting at the front. Back in charge, throttling
and off
back.
it goes again. There's people feeling vulnerable. Spaniards come up on the right of the Portuguese. Portuguese have decided they're safer leading. Great Britain get pinballed back by Boros and Solti. And in turn get knocked back by McGregor and Mokker. Coming around the outside now, Great Britain. It's a brave move. Naive maybe, but it could well stick. No, I don't think it's going to, because these guys are too sharp for that. That was a rookie error, but bravely tried. The Portuguese push again. So Portugal, Faria and Rodriguez. Faria, of course, at the front of the race in the K1 yesterday at this stage as well. And then either with boat trouble or another technical problem, pulled out of the race yesterday. So he's reasonably fresh. The Vold brothers, Spaniards, Laurence in the back there. We've already seen him. McGregor, Mokker looking good. 6:17. Paufler brothers also in there. On the far side, the Czechs, Jacob Adam, and the second Hungarian crew, Georgi Jakob and Kulifai. So a huge group, and it will stay this big. It might even grow. There's problems in the background for somebody. Whoever's got the white hat on in the background, their steering is not good. And they just destroyed the chances of that whole group coming back together.
I must say they're hugging that left-hand bank, which, as Anstott will tell you from our previous discussions, that's shallow water. And the heavier crews will definitely be at a disadvantage, either in terms of drag or possibly even making contact with the muddy bottom there. You can see how shallow it is. So that's a move which is designed to disadvantage the boats on the inside.
And of course, nothing wrong with that, as long as you don't do it too brutally. It's a big group. It's going to be joined gradually by one or two other crews. The Spaniards, that's the big Spaniards, just join in the back of that group. That's Buzan and Fernandez right at the back of the group. They don't seem to be too comfortable at the moment, but again it kicks off, and it's the Portuguese doing it again. The yellow boat of Great Britain really taking the strain now, and at the back it's Georgi Jakob all over the place. Spaniards looking to be taking it easy back there, having a chat even, but I'm not sure what's happened. Charlie Smith, awesome, ducked in. Life-saving move there from Charlie Smith. And he is doing a great job with Magnus Gregory. So 2 Spanish crews in this group, 2 Hungarian crews, Norwegians, French. It's the 2 white caps in the black and white boat that I haven't quite been able to identify yet, so apologies for that. They've just had the door shut on them by Laurence in the Spanish boat, the black boat there, but it's the Portuguese. So the bottom turn is going to splinter this group again. The Spaniards actually, when they're on the wash, they're okay. They look like they're struggling in between times.
Is Boros coming up on the shallow inside?
And Salty, they're coming round.
Big
Czechs,
move
but
from
this
the
move's going all the way. All the people can do now is close them out onto the riverbank. And it's Vold and Vold, full on. Boros wants to come round Burkitt there, and he's not going to make it. Jacob Adam in trouble at the back of the group. And Boros may make this stick. It's going to be really tight for Burkitt. They're nearly level. If Boros is coming in too close to them, I was right on the turn as well.
Burkitt's holding him out.
Burkitt did well. He only needed to get to that turn. A foot. That's amazing. And it's the yellow boat of Portugal that's having trouble now.
Oh, and it's making contact with the black boat
There's
behind them.
There's all sorts of problems out there for people. They came into that turn so fast. There was no hope that that group could survive as a complete group. Off the back now, Great Britain, Sweden, the big Spanish crew. So everyone there has still got a lift back to the front with the big Spanish crew. So Germany just at the back of that group. They were the last survivor from the collisions we had there. To the left of the group, Salty and Boros. Boros, for me, he comes in too soon. He doesn't get far enough up on the boats before he comes in. And that causes, oh my word, all sorts of problems. That's Burkitt in trouble as the yellow Portuguese crew. Oh, McGregor's trying to muscle out the Portuguese. It's not good for him this time. Portuguese aren't having any of it, but he's made it. He made it stick, but it was ugly.
Very chilled looking Hank McGregor and Jasper Mocker. Apparently there's some blood on the face of Hank McGregor. He might have copped a paddle blade at some stage.
That would have been the collision with the Portuguese. He's got no right to complain over that. It was his doing. He made the move stick, but it wasn't nearly as clean as the identical move we saw him do in the K1s yesterday.
And that explains what Hank was doing when the paddles went down. I think he was wiping the blood off his forehead and out of his eyes. Takes me back to a Berg River Canoe Marathon where he was locked in mortal combat with Adrian Boros, and there was a coming together of paddles, and Hank ended up winning that third
Here we
stage.
go again. It's the French this time, taking up the pace. Group will change. McGregor all comfortably across, but there was chaos behind him with the second Hungarian crew. Whoa, McGregor was lucky there. Unbelievably lucky, but for a foot, McGregor and Mocker could have been in all sorts of trouble. It was Burkitt who came around the back of them, and they only just made it. McGregor going around the left of the Norwegians now. I'm interested because he's going to take on Boros for that, who's not having any of it. McGregor collides with the Volds, and they're not having any of it either. So McGregor, at least for now, having to settle for what he's given. You see so many clashes between McGregor and Boros. 90% of those collisions are won by McGregor, I have to say, but that one wasn't. I really hope that we didn't just see him take his drink system off and throw it in the river then, because that would be a penalty of 30 seconds, I think. Burkitt's forced to run.
Slow by the Spanish.
Long. Spaniards very slow out the water.
So Vold and Vold.
Running left a little bit to hold off McGregor.
And they're running so well, they're going to run long as well. They're going to go past them into the lead. Laying down a marker early on. McGregor marker in first, Vold and Vold just behind them, so the Frenchman.
South Africa, Norway, France are the first three away. They're followed by the second South African crew, Burkitt. It's the Spaniards slow out of the Portage as the second group arrives. So all these boats will leave together. Everything's going to be okay. But here's the turn. They're just about to hit the first buoy now. Round go the Spanish. Norwegians safe on the inside, but only for now because the French are right on their tail. And Spaniards, you just don't know. It's McGregor who's vulnerable to French attack here.
Oh, and it's a sluggish.
Norwegians in trouble also. They're struggling to get around the turn. This could open up for the French for the first time in a long time. McGregor needs to tuck inside the Norwegians before the French do. Here he comes now. And, it's hard. The French have come up with nothing again.
Welcome to Hank McGregor
go the Volts
Racing.
to the outside. They're not even going to let Burkett have the outside of that group. This is a significant battle, actually. I think, yeah.
Look at the turn of speed from these two.
Was impressive there. That's McGregor, sorry. I've got the South African crews mixed up. My mistake. So impressive turn of speed from McGregor. Volts still got what they wanted. Their first wash out, and the French are done.
Both South African crews running the normal portage. The Spaniards and the Norwegians going into the seconding zone.
Edwin
the
Vold
French lagging off the back.
At the front of the Norwegian boat. Doesn't look comfortable, and he's in. Oh, my word.
What a shocking place to put a boat.
There's a schoolboy error
what
right
a
there.
Muppet mistake.
That is just, that's not malicious. That's just incompetent. Oh, Josh Kippin's going
Josh Kippin on his
now.
own.
He's got no partner in sight. Please don't do a lap on your own. He is.
Josh, you want to stay there? You want? Well,
he's waiting. No one knows.
Josh Kippin looking for Brendan Rice. What's happened to Brendan Rice?
Here he is. He's limping.
Oh, he's limping.
Got a dead
Doesn't
leg.
look good.
He can't move on the land. Josh, what a painful wait for Josh Kippin.
Every second feels like an hour.
It's horrible.
Get in there, Brendan.
Yeah, even when he gets in there. Oh, no.
Josh is trying to keep his chin up on this bit. Wow, the frustration must be eating him.
So,
sorry, mate, let's go.
What causes a dead leg is always a bit of a mystery, but certainly a lean in a K2 doesn't help that situation. Maybe he hasn't got his own seat in his boat and he's had to set up a seat that he's not used to. They come all the way from Australia. I doubt if they brought the boat with them. Frustration there from Josh, and I think we're going to see him pull out in a minute.
No, and there's a smile from Josh Kippin. That's it. Good night, nurse. I think that's their race run.
No, that's it. They're done.
Josh is a good guy. These guys are really good mates. They travel the world together doing river races and marathons and surf ski, and it's eating Brendan alive. So, he's going to have to buy his mate a beer or 10 tonight to make up for that.
It's not to say it's easy, of course.
No, there's a fantastic example of how to take on those turns flat out fast.
That was a turn. That's probably the best turn we've seen done so far. Looks like the Norwegians might be motivated to get to the Portage first. There's the chase pack. A little bit crazy from Boris to squeeze the Germans to that extent. But he's on the charge, that's for sure.
And there's the gap.
They're starting to get into the rough water behind the lead group, which means they're a lot closer than when we last saw them. You have to hand it to them. That is an impressive chase. They've done that 90% by themselves. The Germans have helped them occasionally, but it's an awkward time to close to the front group because the turn is roughly now, and if it all splinters again, you find yourself with another 5 lengths.
Just have a look at the conversation going on between Jasper Mocker and Hank McGregor. Jasper looked over his shoulder and said, "They're here." Hank turned over his shoulder to Jasper and laughed.
That's Jasper's job. He has to keep Hank informed of anything that's happening behind him. And here we go around the turn. And
it's tight, but it's clean
tight.
so far.
It's going to be okay for all of them, I think.
Neatly done by Andy Burkett and John
round. Van der Westhuizen as well. Spaniards lead. Group changes. Germans in trouble. French in trouble. And that's not helping Boris. Boris just needs a break at this stage. Interesting move at the front.
Oh, side by side, contact.
It was a strange one. No damage done to anyone there. It was Burkett who tried to hold off the Norwegians. Didn't really need to, but there was no harm in trying. Vold's in trouble. They're going to have to get into the V fairly quickly now. Duck round the back of Burkett and up they come. And we might have ourselves a new 4.
Yep.
Good tactical moves from the Volds there. They did everything right, and as a result, they've ended up in the V. We've still got the Spanish close on the tail. They're making up on this turn. But amazing to see Boris and Salty what they're throwing out after such a hard effort on the course, and still showing no signs of tiring at this stage.
Coming long on the Portage, plenty of room for everyone there.
McGregor Mocker quickly out.
Burkett also well away. They're struggling from the Norwegians.
There's a drop from the Volts.
The French are in trouble as well. Volts also want to come into the drinks lane, so they're going to be very vulnerable on this Portage now. I don't think they've really woken up to the fact that there's damage being done to them. Now they have. Now they're running hard. But now we've got
South Africa, Hungary.
An unreliable crew in a stressful position. And here come the Volts. Let's see what they do. Fighting the French. Oh, it couldn't be worse. But the Volts done unbelievably well there. They're going to come out third. Credit to them. Boros is fighting for his comfort position in the group. The Spaniards are trying to hold him off. They couldn't. And got to hand it to the Norwegians there. We were laughing at them earlier, but they did extremely well on that Portage from the position they were in. And there goes Boros again, because a bit more hard work is exactly what he needs right now. And here we go. Burkett goes. I think he was forced by the Volds, and
Burkett and Van Vesthuizen are shadowing them all of the way.
This is
the Spaniards
pretty mean.
have gone
This
on a
is
completely
brutal.
different line.
You can see how much the others are suffering here. McGregor's done the best out of that. He will move wide on the Spaniards, and now he's going to cut in behind the new leader, which is Burkett. McGregor spent pretty much zero on that effort. On the other hand, the Volds spent a lot on that, as did Burkett, to be fair.
So it's
McGregor having to fight a little bit here because he's going to have to get the wash. He's made it through. He's done well.
Let's keep this tidy on the turn.
A little bit vulnerable on the turn. Boris just ducked behind him. Did very well to do that. The Volds also taking the turn tight. They'll come in on the side of the South Africans again, I think. And it's going to be a race for the fourth place here. I think that's McGregor, the first white boat in the back of that four. And you can see him rolling in with the waves.
But it's Burkett and the schoolboy Jean van Vesthuizen are going to be the first in. The Spaniards, Perez and Laurent, are just on their left. Just pinching myself here. There's 18-year-old Jean van Vesthuizen mixing it with the big dogs here. Sure, that's the last thing he's thinking on his mind, that they're in a very strong... The Volds on their right. McGregor and Mocker have slipped right back onto the diamond.
Efficient again from McGregor. He's looking increasingly strong in this race now.
And for all that chest thumping, Boris and Zolti are right at the back.
I think you nailed it right there. Wow, something's happening now. McGregor is trying to squeeze the Volds. That is, that's the wrong move. That is the wrong move. But now it's opened up the other side, and the Spaniards are going to have to hold McGregor off. And that is the first thing you've seen McGregor do wrong. Absolutely, that was the wrong thing to do. The Volds have protected that wash with
there goes Boris and Zolti.
And now McGregor's had his hand forced. He's going to have to, he'll come out on the French, no problem there.
McGregor's going around the outside now.
But the Volds are going to try and hold him off. And this is going to end up as a three-way sprint between the two South Africans and the Norwegians at some stage when McGregor wants to come round. And that's going to begin now.
McGregor
Here goes McGregor. The Volds are going to match him.
The Volts are trying to shut him out.
Yeah.
McGregor
oh my word!
The Volts off.
Oh
that
my
was a very
word.
aggressive move. Hank McGregor, Jasper Mocker keeping their cool. The Volts have blown out of contention.
And job done for McGregor. Job done for McGregor. You saw that was naivety from the two Norwegians there. They didn't have to come out at that angle at all. They didn't have to have contact. They chose contact as their route. And if there's one person you don't choose to make contact with, it's Hank McGregor. In goes Burkett early, very early.
Good aggressive
McGregor's
move.
holding off. McGregor more interested in Boros than he is in Burkett.
Oh, a half
and that
slip
could
from
be a
McGregor.
mistake.
The two are side by side. Trying to close them out on the corner. They're right up against the railings.
Oh, my word, this is fantastic.
Side by side. McGregor and Mocker, a fantastic run. They're actually shading Burkett and Van Vesthuizen on the run. It's going to give them half a boat length coming down to the put-in. This is it. They're going to put in side by side. South Africa, Hungary, McGregor, Mocker in first. Very good put-in by Burkett and Van Vesthuizen. Here they go.
Hungarians in trouble there. The Hungarians have missed their opportunity.
The Spaniards move into third.
the Hungarians missed an opportunity. They were very slow. They got in their boat well, but then didn't paddle away from the side. There was something wrong with Salty in the back there. But it was really interesting that McGregor had his eye purely on Boros coming into that. He let his eye off Burkitt for a second and nearly paid a price.
Now Burkitt has raced McGregor here and has mulled over the mistakes he made at the timing of pulling the trigger. If he wants to
There's nothing he can do. There's nothing. Burkitt. Here you go, Boros. Boros kicks it off.
McGregor responds. It's McGregor gone. Boros is trying to come off the wave. Burkitt and Van der Westhuizen are going with him. Boros is taking.
Boros has to go uphill on Burkitt.
Boros
is going to get there. It's Boros versus McGregor.
McGregor by half a boat length. Boros is laying it all down on the water, but Hank McGregor is coming home to claim his third K2 title with Jasper
McGregor
Mocker.
supreme. Oh,
and there's a silver to South Africa on the line. I venture to suggest. Really sticking my neck out here, but I think Boros threw the brakes out too early.
Eesh. Boros had silver and he relaxed towards the line. I'd love to see that finish again.
Holy camoli, timekeeper's video,
silver
please.
was in Boros's pocket, no doubt about it. He'd broken Burkitt, and I don't know. Well, let's see that. Let's have a replay, guys.
What an amazing finish there. Started off with the French hitting it hard on the right-hand side of the bridge pillar, opening the gap for Boros. He came round, attacked very, very hard. McGregor and Mocker responded, took it out all the way through to the finish. And interesting to see what's happened with second position. We're going to have to see that replay to see who's taken the second. But it should have been Boros and Salty, but we're going to have a look and see the replay.
Yeah, and what's going to make it doubly agonizing is that our camera view isn't going to give us that absolute perpendicular look down the finish line to be able to make that call.
Either way, we need to see the finish again because it was so exciting. You have to be impressed by Boros and Salty after all the punishment they took to even be a contender for that sprint finish.
Handshakes, here we go.
At this stage, Boros and Salty way clear. They're rolling down the wave of McGregor, but they stopped. Which is the line? Is it the orange or yellow? If it's yellow,
it's the orange boys.
Then I think it's South Africa too.
It's going to be a 5mm silver for South
Boros
Africa
and
if our view
Salty
is right.
will regret the day they put their hand in the air for that one. Yeah,
Adrian Boros is going to battle to stomach that if that is what has happened.
Well, I'm just going to turn to the crowd. Who got it, guys?
The completely biased crowd here is giving us, well, what we are definitely going to have to do.
No one knows. They're all as in the dark as I am back here.
I'm going to ask somebody just to ask the timekeepers.
We need to see it again.
The timekeeper's video is going to be the absolute deciding factor. It's all scored on a time pad with a millisecond by millisecond breakdown. They will be the only definitive answer about who is in
Anything's
second.
a bonus for Burkitt. They were coming from behind. The silver medal was in the pocket of the Hungarians. These boys did well today.
Yeah.
Vold and Vold. Superb effort on their part. Round the top turn.
Jakub and Jakub.
The Argentinians, Czechs, Portuguese. And in the background, the Brits.
The steely control of Hank McGregor.
Just so impressive. We'll just let the applause die down.
That's 18-year-old John van Westhuizen who's just getting onto the podium in the senior K2 after having been a 16-year-old as a junior.
Yeah, McGregor has shown that he can do it from wherever he is in the group. Yesterday, he did what Burkitt tried today, and today he came from the V. He'd rested. It was down to one hard sprint, and he got Burkitt before the Portage, and then it was all over. Silver for Hungary has just been announced.
Silver for Hungary.
So it looks like it was a little too late for the South Africans to pull up into silver medal, but if you're going to make a measurement there, it must have been the smallest of measurements.
But just going back to that race, Adrian Boros and Salty, what a race. They were at one stage, they were a minute behind. They clawed their way back. They kept attacking. And to finish off with a silver medal, an amazing performance from them.